Good afternoon, this is Schweitzer, and we're going to cover how I go about knowing my grade in honors chemistry. This is something that I think is really important and should be done in a relatively simple manner, and you should be able to do it on your own. Obviously, with grade calculations, not as easy with standards-based grading. But let's give you a summary so that you don't have to be continually asking me and you know what to expect, okay? So first things first, this form is on the inside of your workbook, and you can write your scores in here and keep track and always know your scores. Okay, so in this situation, quizzes. We have quizzes that are in every chapter. Now, I wrote each one down here. Quiz 1 is in chapter 1. We call chapter 1 standard number 2, which is chemistry introduction. Now, really, these quizzes, they go in your grade book, but they're marked no count. No count. They're a really good marker to see where you're at, but they are really what we're looking for is a retake ticket. Retake ticket. So, in order for you to, that's one way to think of it. In order for you to retake a test on this, then you would need to have a 3 or better on this particular spot. So let's say, for example, you get a 2 on this thing, or maybe even a 1, you screw it up. Then this spot here is for when you retake it. You can write that in there. And maybe you take it a third time and you get a 3. Okay? So atomic structure test, all right, you score a 2 on it. Okay? Because you already have a 3 on here, that is the first leap that you need to go through to retake that test. Okay. Now, there is going to be a secondary event. So during the second chapter, which is atomic structure, so this is the first one, this is the second one. Every single thing that we do, second chapter, matters. So during the atomic structure test, there's going to be a handful of questions, a standard of number. This should be, it looks like maybe this should be number 1 here. It's a misprint. There's going to be some standards there involving number 1. You're going to get 2 scores on just about every test. So all of a sudden, here's where the secondary one comes in. And let's say you get a 4 on this guy. So getting a 4 doesn't show up on our scale from A, B's, and C's. But getting a 4 is very nice because a 4 and a 3 averages, 4 and 2 averages to a 3. So if you can tag a 4 on a particular assessment, then you're good to go. Even if you got a 2 on this thing, right here, and you score a 2 and a 4, then you are good to go to average out to a 3, and you don't need to retake that quiz. Quizzes can be retaken. I'll have them available, and let me know, okay? Let's say you want to, so let's expand this. Let's say you got the second chapter. You got a 2, 2, and a 3. You cannot get a 4. 4s are not available on quizzes. They're pretty straightforward, and we're looking for a basic understanding to make sure when you take your test, you're just not going to get run off the railroad, run off the road. So if you only get 2s in these things, and that's the limit of your knowledge, you're really, to get a 3, something has to change. And maybe something did change. Maybe you learned something. That's hard to say. You know more than I would. But let's say you get a 2 here and a 2 here. Okay. Then you average a 2. So you have to retake these quizzes until they get to become a 3. 3, 3, and this one already is a 3. So there's 3 quizzes in this section. Okay. All right. So just a quick note on the retake process. Okay. Let's say you want to retake a test. How does that work? Retakes here, this is an honors level college prep class, maybe even for some places a college level class. Retakes in college, not as easy. So when do retakes of tests occur, and what do I have to do to retake this test? Now a quiz, for whether it's me or Mrs. Jackson, we the retake process for my class is pretty straightforward. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a task that you have to do before you can retake a quiz. Sometimes you can just show up and take a quiz. Depends on your instructor. It depends on the time, okay, and which one it is. I know for this atomic structure one right here that there is a little worksheet you got to do if you plan on retaking it. Show me that you've improved yourself some, that you figured something out. All right, so you've got all these. So first of all your quizzes need to be at 3s, okay? Then we have a remediation process, remediation packet. Now the remediation packet is a packet that is basically going to have some practice questions, okay? Allowing you to kind of run through some of the material again. This needs to be completed and you need to check your answers, okay? And then at that point, you talk to your instructor. Now, this year, the retake process will take place at the end of the year, at the end of the semester. So you're not going to be able to immediately flip your grades. That's something to think about with these tests. Retakes, yeah, that's fine. You get a retake, but you're only going to get one shot to retake it, at least in the semester, and it's going to be at the end of the semester. So if you get this 2, how long is that 2 going to sit on your grade? It's going to sit there for the entire semester or until the end of the semester. So typically, before we leave for the holiday break in December or Christmas, I will, so in, let's say, end of December, okay, I will give you, provide remediation packets. Remediation packets. I will likely even have a sign-up sheet for people who want to retake tests. All right, sign up. Okay, and then in the last week or so, it's kind of like hunting season. We'll open season for tests, and once you have all your quizzes done and you did the remediation packet I just gave you, then at that point only can you sign up with your instructor to retake a test. Again, it's not as easy as you might think. Okay, so I would also say that the same process will occur again in May. And all standards, now this is just the first semester, but all standards will be open in May. So technically, if you don't achieve an A the first semester, you do get one more chance in the second semester, which then if you can get all of these standards to a 3 or better, then you would be at an A. Okay, so let's review how do I score, how do I get an A? Okay, for a lot of kids in this class, an A really might be your only option. A B, a C. A C is something that we really draw the line there. Okay, so technically for our school, you have to have a 3 or better. Okay, in every one of these standards. Now we have the introduction to chemistry, we have the atomic structure, we have bonding, and we have mathematical relationships, and we have our lab. So each one of these will have an average, 3. Now again, so 2, maybe you have a 3, maybe you have a 3, and maybe here, all of these together, you have a 3, maybe a 3, 0.5 or whatever. So there's grades here, and here, okay? So in this case, what grade does this person have? Right now, this person has a B because they have a 2 here, okay? Person could opt to retake that 2 and get it to a 3, and then they would have an A. Just a side note here for the labs. Some labs are more activities where we would simply, in class, you'll be given a grade right in class, a 3 or a 2. 3 or a 2. These labs are for lab write-ups, which means you'll be turning stuff in to turnitin.com, and you have a little written paper that you have to turn in. And that's writing standard is myself and Miss Jackson take very seriously, as writing is a major topic in high school and as becoming a rational adult. Okay, so this is the first semester, And then, of course, you'll see in the second semester, it's got this. This will be in the inside chapter of your second chapter, second workbook. Okay, so hopefully that does allow you an opportunity. Now, this year we do have an alternate method of retaking. With that, you can come talk to Mrs. Jackson or myself. So there is one option here where we can go through the process that I just mentioned to you. So the retake process I just talked about. There is an alternate method. If you're interested in something and you're, an alternate method, it's not an easy pathway, but if it could be something that you might be interested in, okay? But you can talk to myself or Mrs. Jackson if that's something that interests you, okay? All right. Thank you very much.